Hello, internets. This is LVAO Toro of the Fancy Action. Now, I haven't done a podium in a while, so I thought I would do a lectern rant about electronic arts. Okay, so you're looking at full body. You're looking at full body cam right here. Full body cam. Full body cam. Full body cam. Full body cam. Full body. Yeah, okay, enough of that. So I just want to give a cheers out to the subscribers. Cheers to you. Good morning. Second cup of coffee. It's instant coffee, believe it or not. Very European. If you go over to Europe, believe it, like they like the fancy coffees that you go out and get. But like if you're in a hotel, it's like instant coffee. Like instant coffee is big in Europe. You know, the crystal coffee, the Sanka, you know, yeah. I was like, it was everywhere. I was like, Jesus, I thought this was like crap, and they love it over there. But if you go get like an espresso or a cappuccino in Italy, that is like freebasing caffeine into your eyeball. That will have you climbing cathedrals. Oh my God. I had a cup of coffee in Italy, a short one. Jesus, my heart was pounding in my chest, and I was just like, yeah, let's go do everything. So anyway, let's talk about EA. Let's talk about the title of the video. Title of the video is Stupid Myopic Greed. Oh my God, it's True McFly. True McFly, what's up, buddy? All right, shout out, True McFly. Go check out his channel. If you watch these videos, my rant videos tend to be a little bit better engagement in those videos. So this is a stand-up podium rant. So this has all the ingredients of engagement with the audience. So let's see what True McFly has to say. On second pot. Another confirm addict. Thank you, brother. Would you like to stand up and tell the group how you became addicted to coffee, sir? All right, I got a story for you. Okay, let's see what he says here. Remember those cringy 70s, early 80s Taster's Choice? Yeah. Yes, they were everywhere. They were like, they were as common as like pharmaceutical ads are now. Frieza, Taster's Choice. They were like, you know what, bro? Here's the thing. Because you're one of my contemporaries. Back in the 70s, man, we were living. I mean, those Taster's Choice commercials had the production of a Hollywood movie. They had the art filter, and everybody was immaculately coiffed and dressed, and they created the atmosphere, and there was an orchestral kind of music going on, and then like some throaty dude would come on and go, Taster's Choice, have the best day you can. I mean, it was just like the production value in a freaking freeze-dried coffee ad. They did it up. There were no half measures in the 70s, baby. No half measures in the 70s. I got to tell you, the 70s, to be honest, is one of my favorite decades. Really, it really is. Just because of the vibe. The vibe was like, we figured everything out. It's like, you know, you need to have plants in your life. And it was very like earthy, you know, it was very earthy and real. And everything was like wood. Everybody loved wood and nature and plants and natural tones. And everything was nature. Everything was like natural tones. And, you know, everybody was like, let your hair grow naturally and let your hair grow naturally back in the day. So, yeah. 70s was kind of like we were at home with ourselves in the 70s, really. We were at home with and you know what? The thing about the 70s is what brought on like the 80s and the like the hard right and the ruthless business attitude of the 80s is that in the 70s we didn't take the government very seriously. We also knew they were up to no good. The 70s has the most like conspiracy movies. If you think about it, if you go back to the 70s, it was all about like outing the government. There was all that Nixon shit from the previous, and it was overlapped into the 70s. So like there was distrust of the government. The government was less relevant in the 70s, and people just kind of did what they wanted to do. They weren't worried about the morality, the moral majority. They kind of were. It was kind of like the, enjoy yourself generation. It really was. And it was like, don't worry about the government. They're corrupt. We know it. And we're just going to go do our thing. See, the government was less relevant. I love it. I love it. Anyway, so True McFly, thank you for popping in. So my coffee story, I'll make it fast, and then we'll get to the bulk of the video. I had a grandmother who was a caffeine addict, and she had one of those like commercial stainless steel tube, the stainless steel tubes with the little rocker switch on the bottom. She would make one of those every day, the whole thing, and would kill it every day, and then at night, because she worked at night, believe it or not. I don't know when the woman fucking slept. She was a fucking alien. But then she would make, like, if there was nothing left and she still wanted coffee, she would make like a small human pot that did like 4 to 5 cups. So she had like a normal human pot. That was her fucking backup in the night. That was her backup pot, the normal human pot. She was Italian. Her name was Immaculata Martino. She worked a factory job. She worked in a cannery, and she worked the night shift. So I remember her like coming down, making the big thing, just going through it. I mean, just drinking it like water all day long. And then, I got to go to work, honey. I'm going to make myself another pot. And she would make the human pot and fill a thermos to take with her and then have a cup. I mean, the woman lived to be 93. The woman lived to be 93. And it was all her valves went. All her valves. She blew her O-rings. but 93. And she drank coffee like it was water, bro. She drank it like it was water. She drank instant. She brewed her own coffee, the regular grounds. We were constantly dumping. We had our trash was like 50% coffee grounds. It was crazy. Anyway, that was a little personal story. But the actual subject of the video, is EA. And their stupid, myopic greed is losing them FIFA now. So this is very much an I told you so video. This is very much, I predicted this probably in total, I would probably say at least 3 years ago, is that EA has become associated with exploitative business practices, thank you, and exploiting kids. You have to remember, and what EA forgot is your brand is everything. Profits are part of your brand. But the brand is everything. And what you did was, and many companies are guilty of this, because you're on a profit vector with a certain type of business, does not mean it's going to translate to all sections of business, does not mean that it is going to work in every scenario. And when you enter in a scenario where you're getting pushback from parents and governments, It should never get that far. What you've done is you've taken the one trick pony that is your cash cow and tried to shoehorn it into other elements of your business because, well, if it's working and it's profitable, it's absolutely 100% right in all areas. It can't be wrong because it's making money over here. It can't be wrong. It's the most myopic, narcissistic, psychopathic attitude. Again, it's insanity. It's doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different result. So you took the business model of FIFA, which was doing just fine where it was, and then you rubber stamped it on frickin' Dead Space 3 and Star Wars, and you forgot about brands. Disney understands their brand name is everything. That's why you lost Star Wars. You bias, and I predicted this. You, by association with your business practice, tarnished their brand. And you did it to the point where you know, with Battlefront 2, you took it too far. You doubled down when you should have stood pat or even backed off. You doubled down. There were warning signs were there. Parents were complaining, and your biggest business partners, these grand licenses, okay? And I'm sorry, say what you want. Star Wars, again, even with the watering down and the wokeifying and all the rest of it, still has the brand recognition like nothing else. You lost that brand. That is an unforgivable mistake. And now you're losing FIFA. Another unforgivable mistake. You could have kept that license in perpetuity, and now they're pricing you out. They want you gone. You have renewal options, so they went into their contract and they said, well, we could charge them so much money, it's cost prohibitive for them to keep the license. Because you have tarnished their brand. FIFA is a family brand. FIFA is welcome in every country on the planet. It is a family brand. It is a sports brand. It is a brand that parents are typically comfortable associating their young people with. And again, you turned it into a freaking casino in their own homes. That's the other thing, too, is you underestimate the power of parents to influence these brands. Again, you start tarnishing these brands to parents who start withholding their funds and saying, well, we'll go over to Pez. Is Pez exploiting our children? Huh? Is Pez harming running a casino in our home? No, they're not. I'm just messing with my 360 controller. So EA, what I predicted years ago has come to pass. And I told you it's my most popular video. You need to go check it out. On boycott Battlefront 2, boycott Mass Effect Andromeda. I think my most popular video is boycott Mass Effect Andromeda. It's all there. The predictions are there years ago. I warned you about these brands. I warned you about the association with you. And in your arrogance, you have lost two of the biggest licenses I mean, money makers that would have kept you in good stead for decades. For decades going forward. And these brands are dropping you, and you are never going to get the taint and the stink off of you. You should restructure and rebrand. I'm serious. You've done it in the past many times. You need to restructure, you need to rebrand, and you need to get over yourselves because you have already failed your companies and your company, your employees, and your shareholders. You have failed them. Your leadership has failed. The myopic, this will work everywhere, every time, as much as we want. This one business practice that had some success over here, it is our main driver of revenue. We can turn it up to 11 everywhere and it'll work. The most idiot, again, what you lacked, and here is the word, EA. You lacked restraint first, and you lacked perspective. Just because you were able to exploit people on FIFA does not mean parents want their kids exploited in Star Wars. Right? You just thought, we're going to take this business model. Okay. Then you take a niche game that's a classic. Again, lack of restraint and perspective. And here's where the perspective comes in. You destroyed visceral games that created Dead Space 1, Dead Space 2. Again, that could be a franchise that's still making money for you. Visceral for you had nailed the space zombie genre. Nailed it. They gave you 2 examples where you could go back and forth with the franchise, like Resident Evil. That could have been your Resident Evil. Visceral would have given it to you if you let the studio cultivate and curate that franchise. It would still be a money maker for you. Would it be a FIFA? No, of course not, you idiots. You took Dead Space 3 and tried to turn it into FIFA Ultimate Team. Why did you? That's not what it is. Again, you're trying to use a mallet to fix a teacup. Dead Space didn't need that. Dead Space didn't need the girl to come back and be different with big boobs. All you did was put microtransactions and some chick with boobs in the game. To a horror classic. I still hate giving you credit for it. It's really Visceral's game. But you provided the funding to develop Dead Space and Dead Space 2. 2 of my favorites of all time. It's right up there with Resident Evil, and I'll never get any more of them because you said, you know what? FIFA Ultimate Team transactions, Dead Space. Oh, and bring the girl back and make sure you can see her cleavage and give her like a size up on the boobs. We want to go from a C to a D. I mean, I'm like, what are you thinking? What are you thinking? You destroyed that studio. You destroyed what could have been just a cottage franchise that would always make money and have a devoted fan base. Those games still have, the first 2 still have a devoted fan base. That 3rd game is absolute bunk. Bunk. I played through it. Mechanically, it's fine. But you have this weird freaking jacked up love story with some chick who's not the chick from the other game, but she gets to be an emotional basket case the whole time, and there's a love triangle, and it's absolute bullshit. It's absolute bullshit. It's like a 15-year-old girl's fan fiction. It's crap. And then you stick all those microtransactions in there that nobody wanted or needed. It's a turd in a swimming pool, bro. You didn't know your own brand. You didn't even know your own... you didn't cultivate your own franchises. Let's just slap this business model on everything that we do. And for a game company your size and the breadth of the licensure that you have and types of gaming and genres that you develop, it's not going to work like that. It's not going to do that. But you're like, it's making money, slap it on. I don't give a damn. Oh, you don't want to play ball with us? I'm sure Visceral was pushing back on you. We want to make an actual Dead Space sequel. You're like, yeah. You know what? Did you put in the FIFA Ultimate Team model in there? Oh no? You're gone. We're EA. You're gone. Greed. Narrow-minded greed. Myopic. You must exercise some restraint. That business model is not going to work every single time in every single way. You can utilize it too much. You have to diversify your thinking. You have to craft your approach to each particular genre because it speaks to a different audience. They may be the same people, they may overlap, but it is a different genre and people have different expectations of what they're going to get. And when they play a survival horror game, they don't want, oh, you know what? Spend these coins and you can get this attachment for your gun and, blah, 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 It's a survival horror game. It's all based on mood. It's all OSP, on-site procurement. You're supposed to be working within the environment. You're not supposed to be going shopping in at the Atom Shop. Again, Bethesda made the same mistake, and they sure turned that shit around. They went back to developing the game. And again, they were copying you, EA. Again, you set a very bad example for other very high-quality developers. They were mystified by your unending greed. And then they started to see the wheels fall off, and they started to see you being brought up on charges. EA, if you were an individual person, you would be in jail for fraud, for racketeering. And these are some of the charges that are coming up in these government hearings. So you have governments banning you. At what point in time do you wake up? Well, you're waking up now because your franchises are leaving you like rats leaving a sinking ship. And without them, EA, you're nothing. You're nothing but a holding company. Without these franchises, you're nothing. You take away FIFA and Star Wars, what's left, EA? Oh, there's a lot left that you could develop. But you are going to descend from your ranking in the pack. And the other competitors are licking their lips. You're the elephant with 100 spears in it, starting to stumble and fall. And the hyenas are going to eat your carcass, baby. The buzzards are going to eat the eyeballs out of your sockets. They can't wait to take over these franchises. They can't wait to represent these brands. And they're going to learn from your mistakes. And you, unfortunately, did not. And the warnings were there. The commentary was there. I was one of many voices that was trying to wake you up to the reality of what was going on. Oh, did you have windfall profits during those times? Yeah, absolutely. You'll never rise back up to that level. Because you failed to exercise the restraint and the perspective. You're like, fuck these gamers. We're EA. We're going to put microtransactions into a survival horror game. And some chick running around with boobs. What? Yeah, I'm like, come on, man. Again, Dead Space could be as big as Resident Evil. It could be as consistent. Now, Resident Evil is a very big franchise, and Dead Space was a very solid franchise. Was it ever going to be like Mario Kart 10 or whatever? No, it didn't have to be. It served a niche effectively, it was successful, and it generated a very respectable revenue. Then leave it alone. Let it do what it's doing, and let it be and again, you might hit it lucky where the developers really put a lot of work into it. They get a lot of feedback. They perfect the formula, and then you do have a big hit. And then you could spin it off. There's so many opportunities were lost because of myopic greed, because you said, take FIFA, slap it onto Dead Space. And the reason I keep using that example is it's a very good example of how far away your perception was in how to run that particular brand and game, and how far afield you were slapping that business model on games where it was just not appropriate, man. It was like gloves on a snake. I mean, it was just, you literally stapled the gloves to the snake and said, there you go. Ridiculous, man. Ridiculous. And now your cornerstone property, I mean, how many bonehead maneuvers are we going to do? You got BioWare, and we don't know where the hell that shit's going, and their property. We don't know where that's going. You screwed that up. You destroyed Visceral. You destroyed the Dead Space franchise. Which is like, how do you do that? How do you do that? You know what? EA, I want to give you some advice. I want to stop right here. I'm going to stop right here, and I'm going to give you some advice. Get out of the way of your developers. Stop shoehorning transactions in there that don't make sense. Let them make video games. There are certain games that skins and microtransactions are appropriate, but you did not establish any serious, and this is where you fail as a business. You should have sat yourselves down and said, we need to set up thresholds and guidance for how we apply this business model. Not just shove it in where it's inappropriate. Not just demand where it's like again, if you go to the developers and the developers say, we don't think this is appropriate for our game. I guarantee Visceral said that to you. We really don't want this in our game. Then you need to listen to the developer and say to yourselves, this is a survival horror game. Microtransactions are a little strange. Maybe we dial it down to like 0 or 1 or 2. Like skins. Like there were skins in there, right? And some of the skins were kind of cool in Dead Space 3. You know, if you come up with a couple really cool skins and they're a couple of bucks or like $2.99 or whatever, see, that's where you turn it down. Like some of the expense for some of the microtransactions in Dead Space 3 were prohibitive. They were ridiculously expensive. If you're getting a little bit of incremental revenue that you wouldn't normally get in a game where it's marginally appropriate, turn that shit down. Make it $1 or $2. Make it $2.99. It's incremental revenue. We don't want to be hawked for the guns and for everything, and then make some of it earnable. Make some of it earnable. And again, there's ways and ways if you have some restraint and you tailor the experience to the game and the genre. All you did was slap it on everything and turn it up to 11. Let's maximize our problem. Maximize. And you burnt everybody out. You tarnished other companies' brands because they're associated with you. It's so ham-fisted, I can't believe it. It's so ham-fisted that nobody said, Let's exercise some restraints, have some guidelines and boundaries on how we do this, how much we do, the way we do it. You know, again, if we're into survival horror, let's work with the developers to say, look, we want to introduce incremental revenue. If it's lower priced and it's just here or there, or it's something that will enhance the gameplay, work with the developers. And if the developers push back, listen to them. They're the ones making the game. All you are is a holding company. You're a publisher. You're not making anything. And that's the key. The division between the development process and the publishing process, where you are just holding the purse strings and shoehorning this stuff on the developers, is where you really lost your way. It's where you really, really lost your way. And the whole, like, we're not evil. We let the developers do what we let the creatives, we let them do. Bullshit. Bullshit. Enough has come out to show that you intimidated and coerced these developers to stick stuff in their game they didn't want to put in there. So you exploited the creatives, just like you exploited families and children. So you are the bad guy, EA. You are the bad guy. And guess what? You shot yourself in both feet. You shot yourself in both feet, and you're going down on your knees. Your stock is going to fall below 50. You need to get a hold of yourself. You need to get a hold of yourself. Now you have to build back better. You're never going to get it back. I've watched you come back from a lot of stuff, but this, you've left a really bad taste in people's mouths. So my advice, again, is you need to clean house, and you need to get some people in there that know how to make money. There's nothing wrong with being ambitious and even greedy, but not greedy stupid like you were. You were stupidly greedy. You were myopically greedy. And again, that will lead you to poverty. That will lead you to poverty if you're myopically greedy. And with that being said, let's see. What do we got? We got True McFly. What does he got to say? I pray they lose the Madden series. I love my football games, but Madden has been the same game since 15. That's what everybody says. Angry Joe says that. It's you know, I know, like, putting the new year on it, it's just like, it's a great thing, but all they care about is Madden Ultimate Team, right? Right. So, yeah, you know, I don't know if you're going to lose that one because you've been handling that one decently, but you're going to lose. You've already lost your standing in the community. You've already gone down in rank. You've gone down in rank. If not market cap, which I haven't looked at it in a while, but I think you've lost market cap, but maybe not in market cap, but you've lost standing in the community. You're tainted, you're tarnished, you're marked. And I tried to help you out. I offered my services to you. I offered to help consult you through that. Well, and again, I know I'm a guy, but I have business experience that would have helped you through that, would have helped you navigate, would have helped you maximize your profits, but also be customer focused and brand focused. So you could have curated those brands in the way they were intended to be curated. Give them the courtesy and the respect and the homage that they deserve, along with respecting children and families and governments. You could have had it all, and I could have helped you. I could have, but no, you'll just call YouTube and throttle my channel and call it a win. And now I'm standing on top of you and going, told you so. This has been LVO Tour of the Fancy Action Now for the gamer.